Alright, we are live. Alright, welcome everybody to Out of Character. I'm your host, the Faulty GM. And I have with me four other gentlemen that today are going on an adventure to get themselves minted and their very first mission as an official Copper Jackal. So I'd like everybody to introduce yourselves, and if you have channels to plug, go ahead and plug your channels. Let's start with Alex.
Hi everybody, I'm Alex. I don't have a YouTube channel or anything, but today I will be playing Danny Desertface, also known among the Copper Jackals as the Abbot. He is an elf, and he's a pirate, the captain of a ship, and his class is monk. So I can't wait to go on an adventure with these guys. It's gonna be awesome.
Alright. Moving down the line to Carl.
Alright, I am Carl, and my YouTube channel is D20+1, so that's my official channel plug. I am playing Horgar Shellskin, who is a hill dwarf bard with a bit of an odd past. He talks about it to everyone, but the story changes a little bit every time, so it's kind of hard to know what's true and what's not. But it'll be fun to play around with that. So, yeah, that's my character.
Alright, going over to Nick.
Alright, I'm Nick. My YouTube channel is JesterX. Maybe a little difficult to find, but if you look at this picture that I have and see that, that's my YouTube picture. I'm playing a half-orc monk who is known throughout the region basically as the Wendigo. Doesn't really go by any particular name. He kind of gave it up when he came to the mountains. But basically, he's been like a folklore, like boogeyman in the area for the past 2 decades. And this will be his first foray into even moderately civilized land since he arrived on the continent.
Alright, and last but not least, Spencer.
Alright, I'm going to be playing Terrakarn Steelhorn. He is a Minotaur Paladin. He is someone that didn't agree with his town's morals of torturing and straight out slaughtering the people that they didn't agree with their beliefs, so he kind of broke his oath and is now out serving his own justice.
Alright. Your character is lawful evil, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright. All sorts in the Copper Jackals. Alright, guys. So, Alex, you didn't really get to introduce your character, so why don't you give a brief summary of your character, too?
Ahoy, me hearties! I be Captain Danny Desertface, the Abbot. Those were the days when I pillaged and plundered with me crew aboard the Chimera. But as of late, I've joined a new group, the Copper Jackals, and I've been going on missions and learning that maybe that time of my life is over and it's time for me to move on and start a new episode. And I'm eager to meet these new recruits and solve whatever mission I've been sent on.
Alright, guys. So, I'm going to go over a really quick summary of what's going down. So, we are going to start with, let me just make sure I pronounce your name correctly. Terrakarn?
Yes.
Alright, so, Terrakarn, you, like everybody else here, have been led here through some means of tracking the Copper Jackals that have minted you. Well, not minted you, but given you the ore. You know the legend of what the ore stands for, but you haven't really been able to find a Copper Jackal to cement what it is. You've been searching all over the place, and through your search, you've actually been led on, some would say, a journey. You've crossed the mountains, you've crossed plains, you've crossed so many miles you've lost count. Days, weeks, months have gone by, and you've been tracking this small group, losing them every so often and picking up the trail again. And you feel like you're getting closer and closer to them. Their campsites seem to be getting less spread apart, almost like they're egging you on. And as you are tracking them, you keep having to second guess yourself. Should it be this easy to find the infamous Copper Jackals? Should it be this simple? And then, just like so many times before, the trail goes cold again. And you find yourself just drifting, just walking, trying to find the trail, trying to pick it back up. You find yourself surrounded by the mountains, deep in the snow, deep in the height that is the Svir Mountains, separating Eins from Grin. And when you get so tired that you can barely walk anymore, you find yourself in a cart with an old man, a merchant. You've been traveling in with him for quite a while now, him leading you further into the mountains. When you wake to him already talking, telling you a story as if you've been awake this whole time. And what he says to you is, he looks over and sees you starting to stir and almost doesn't break in what he's saying. And he just goes, "Oh yeah, back in the day when it was the Copper Legion, they used to come up and down this road. What is this road called? The two-named road, two-named pass, two names, two..." And he just gets lost in his thoughts, and he goes, No, it is two-named pass. That's what it is called, the two-named pass. I think, I'm sure of it. Something about orcs on one side, something about coppers on the other. It doesn't matter. And he kind of looks you up and down and goes, "So, where are you supposed to be going?"
Sorry, what was that? What was the question?
He asks you where you're supposed to be going.
I don't know. I've been following a group, well, it doesn't matter really who I'm following, but right now I'm just looking for a hint of where they've gone.
Well, you're on the sunny side of the mountain. Seems that you've been moving towards the grim side of the mountain. Whoever you're looking for on that side, maybe you should just leave it alone. But I gotta tell you, friend, once we get all the way over to the Springdales, I can't take you any further than that. Gonna sell my wares and head back down the sunny side. You understand?
Very well. Been nice having you as company.
And you as well. I think I've been talking to myself for the last 12 hours. And then he just goes on to regale you in yet another tale on why this place is called the Pass of Two Names. So, it is about maybe another half an hour or so before you get to this said Springdale. And it's not so much a town as like a cluster of 5 or so buildings. Some of these buildings at least resemble a house, but the biggest and busiest one is clearly a tavern of some sort. It does seem to be very busy. It does seem to have a fair amount of carriages and carts pulled up to it, but you can tell that this is kind of like a port station, like some place that people just go to restock and continue on their way. Nobody actually lives here except for maybe the people that run the tavern. And as he pulls up, he just goes, "Well, this is it, friend. It's been nice talking to myself while you pretend to listen."
Thank you for the company. Listened to a few of your stories. They were rather entertaining for the time.
Well, of course they were entertaining. I've been alive for, I don't know, a long time now. You should listen to old men when they talk. Very interesting stories. Well,
I probably should.
you don't find what you find here. I don't know where you're going to find it. And he just kind of motions for you to get off his cart.
Alright, so I'll be hopping down and start walking towards the tavern.
Alright. So, as you get to the tavern, you can see that the name, the wooden sign that hangs from it is very battered. It's kind of almost broken, but it looks like it's been put back together at least 20 times. And the name reads The Between. You don't know if that's a metaphor or what, but it is a very simple name. And when you walk in, it is very peaceful for what you may or may not know a tavern to be like. It is not rowdy. Everybody is, talking amongst themselves peacefully. Everybody just kind of drinking. And I would like everyone else to describe where you are and what you're doing in this tavern right now. So let's start with Alex again.
All right, and this tavern is very, very calm and not rowdy at all, except one elf who is sitting at the bar, and who has got a large pint of beer in his hand, and he's talking to the bartender and to anyone willing to listen. Arr! They send me up here in the mountains, far from the sea. Ridiculous! I never signed up for this. This is just I long for the fresh air on me skin again, and this thin air in the mountains. And he spits on the ground of the tavern, basically just drunkenly ranting about being so far up in the mountains and inland, and about how somehow someone sent him here.
Okay. Hogar, what about you?
You would see Horgar standing at the bar. I would imagine, and there's a woman there who seems to be running the place, and you can seems like he's making a deal with her. Anyone who's close enough to listen would maybe catch little fragments of words, portrait exchange, words like that, and you would see me go to a lonely section of the bar and sit down at a table, unfurl a scroll of parchment, and just start drawing with this stick of charcoal. My hands already getting smudged from it as I work quickly, and then just seems to keep glancing at the woman in the bar, and glancing back down at my drawing and glancing back up at her, kind of lost in my own little world.
Alright, and finally, the Wendigo. What are you doing?
Alright, so I'd say that you see definitely trying to make himself not notice, a very large figure, completely shrouded in like what seems to be very loose-fitting clothing. From what you can tell, like it's the proper height, like size for his height, but it definitely seems to be hanging loose on him. Um, but the hood's pulled far over his head, and he's kind of just two-hand holding a cup and sipping on it from time to time, but making kind of trying to definitely make himself not notice. Hunched over, trying not to look as big as he is.
Mm. All right. So, as you were all doing what it is you were doing, Terracon, what would you like your character to do or go? Does your character sit at a bar, or
He would definitely go to the bar, order himself a little bit, not the largest, but a little cup of ale, and just start listening to people, try to collect his thoughts, maybe set out a new plan of where the Sea Jacks could be.
So, I bet. As you are complaining and as you deliberately spit on the floor, the bartender, who is dressed in what you would probably consider to be very, very fancy clothes, at least for somebody who lives out in the middle of nowhere. And they're actually very odd clothes as well. They're not clothes that you are familiar with or that you have ever seen, but I would actually like you to make an intelligence check.
Danny, or...
Yeah, I bet.
Okay, I'm going to
That's
go ahead
okay.
and take disadvantage on that because I am drunk and I'm not feeling very intelligent right now.
Okay.
And so I get an 8.
An 8? So, here's what I'm going to say. You are by far the only person in the group, maybe Hogar may have known, but you're the only person in the group that may have known where this man's clothes are from because you sail. However, because you are so intoxicated, it's like you see it and you think about it for a second, and then you just start focusing on something else.
And these newbies I'm supposed to be meeting, where are they? Are they here? Nay, leaving me all alone, stranded in this bar. Arr! Get me another drink, bartender.
And the bartender just takes a really, deep breath as if he's trying to hold everything he is probably wants to say down. And he just goes, "Very well, sir." And he snaps his fingers, and one of the other bartenders comes over and he goes, "Please take care of the spilt liquids on the floor, please." And would you like another ale, sir?
Yar! I damn well right want another ale.
I see. Okay. If I may, sir, what exactly are you doing here? You don't seem the sort to be trekking this far into the mountains.
Arr, true indeed. Well, I've been sent here by my employers all the way up into this blasted mountain to deal with a problem you've been having.
So he fills up your ale, and he slides it over to you, and you've kind of piqued his interest, and he goes, "Oh, what kind of problem exactly?"
At this point, how much have I been filled in on exactly what I'm supposed to be doing here
So I would say
by
that
the Copper Jackals who sent me?
yeah. So I'm pretty sure what the Copper Jackals, if I understand them enough, probably would have filled you in as much as possible so that you're ready or prepared for whatever it is. So you definitely know that there has definitely been sightings of a hobgoblin legion, which isn't rare in the mountains, especially around um, the grim side of the mountain. But other than that, the disappearances have been so strange that there's not a lot of information that the Copper Jackals can give you.
It's pretty straightforward, actually. Find a group of hobgoblins, beat 'em to a bloody pulp, and get back to me ship quick as a jiffy. Yeah, you don't happen to know where they be hiding out, do ya?
And the man kind of takes a really deep breath and goes, "No, I do not leave this tavern. It is far too cold and far too dangerous. But what I will say is hobgoblins are interesting creatures. They typically stay towards the orc side, and they have passed through. Not this particular town, but definitely the pass. Um, the pass only goes one way, so I assume that if you walk straight, eventually you'll run into them. But," and he kind of clears his throat and looks around and leans in close to you and says, "But I will say that there have been reports that the hobgoblins are trying to attack a nearby village, and that they may have some sort of fire-breathing contraption or possibly a dragon of some sort with them. But that is, of course, just rumors."
Then there is no time to be wasted. And he slams his drink down and sort of gets up and starts to walk towards the door, but he's like swaying back and forth and and kind of like almost topples over and grabs himself on the chair that you are sitting on, my friend, the dwarven bard who is drawing.
And you would see a couple of charcoal pencils kind of go flying off the table, and the drawing that I was working so diligently on is nearly done, and you kind of see it gets a little smudged, and I kind of turn and say, I beg your pardon, sir." And I kind of lean down and pick up, like, one at a time, pick up the charcoals, and kind of not making eye contact in these tattered clothing, like, whatever I do, I'm trying not to cause any drama.
Let me help you. And he starts to bend down and help you pick up your charcoals.
And I would kind of hold out my hand in a way that isn't immediately indicative that I'm a beggar, because I'm holding them out as if, please, sir, give me some coins. But as soon as you kind of do that, I would pocket them and kind of grab the parchment and look it over and wave the woman over and say, "Will this do, my lady?" And I guess I will leave that up to you whether or not it will, Jonathan.
Alright. So you hand the picture to the woman, and so I'm actually going to ask you, how good of an artist are you?
I imagine that he has a lot of free time when he's out in the streets, and it's probably his. If a bard can have drawing as an instrument, I imagine that's what it is.
Okay, so you're so good that, like, it is possible that maybe gods might want to see it.
Well, it's
what you're
probably not quite that good, but whatever.
I mean, that's what I imagine bards are like with their music.
Level 3.
Eventually,
Level
maybe
3
a god
bard.
might want us to hear it.
Maybe like an early, maybe like if Da Vinci was drawing for table scraps at a young age, maybe that level. But I don't
That's
want
a
to give
pretty high
myself.
level, man.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a pretty high bar. Okay, so yeah, so she takes a look at it, and you can kind of see her eyes go wide, but they lower as she kind of looks around her, trying to like. You can tell that she's clearly trying to lower your expectations, and she just kind of shrugs her shoulders and goes, it's all right. It's not the best I've seen, but it's all right."
Is it worth a crust of bread at least?
And she kind of clears her throat, and she goes, for this, I would give you. How is 3 loaves of bread and some cheese?
And showing that complete lack of negotiation skills that a hungry person has, I'm just immediately deal, holding out my grubby dwarven hand.
And I grab onto your hand and push it down and go, har har, you must be joking. I'll pay you 5 gold pieces on the spot for that drawing. It's
And,
the most beautiful things I ever laid me eyes on.
As soon as he does that, she instantly jumps on the table and goes, 10 gold! 10 gold for the picture!
And I'm just kind of shrinking into my seat. Like if I could melt into the chair, I would, because this is the last thing I want is to have everyone looking at me right now. They said, no, really, the bread will do. The bread is fine.
And she'll kind of take that as like an offer, and she'll go, 10 gold and the bread and the cheese. A whole wheel.
And I'm just, it's like slack-jawed, and I'm like...
You've got me beat there, Lassie.
And I just, I offer my grubby dwarven hand, kind of, maybe, like, wiping it off on my dirty, raggy clothing first, trying to get the charcoal off as much as I can, and holding it out to her.
So
it is a deal.
She takes it and shakes your hand with like glee, and takes the picture and instantly runs to the back to go and grab you some bread and the cheese. She puts it in a nice woven bag for you, and she hands it back.
Yeah, as soon as she gives me the food, I'm just like, complete lack of decor, just just digging into this food, and it doesn't even have any maggots in it. Lucky day.
All right. So I will say that a bet is definitely not quiet. So most of you guys could have definitely overheard what he was saying. Is anybody interested, or what is everybody else doing?
I'm going to be at the bar, kind of waiting for them to pass. Wait for them to come to me more than anything else. So I'm definitely watching them, but not approaching.
Okay.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued by the loud guy in here. So at first I kind of like turned and positioned my body to like just face him and listen, see what was going on. And when he mentioned looking for people, I've only heard bits and pieces of tales of travelers about the Copper Jackals. I don't really know much about them. All I know is that a trail that I was following down the mountains led here. And I know that there's a group, and hearing him talk about a group, I hesitate for a second, and then get up, hunched over, and reach into my pocket, gather all my belongings, like pull my backpack on. I have a matte white staff, strap that over my back, and then grab this huge ram horn and curl that over my shoulder. And I walk over to the half elf, and I just put my hand in my pocket and I pull it out, and I show him the ore. It like completely out in the open too. Like I have no idea, like what I'm supposed to do, and I kind of like when I put my hand in your face, you may or may not notice because you're so drunk, but my skin's blue, like a dark indigo color on my palm, and I'm kind of trying to keep it in the sleeve, but my fingertips have to come out to show the ore.
Awesome. And as you approach, I feel like you're a pretty imposing half orc, and
Well,
Danny would immediately start like.
Well, I'm completely obscured. Like there's not much of my body showing. It's like heavy, low hood over me, and I'm hunched over. But I'm very tall, like 6.5 feet, standing straight up. So even hunched over, I'm standing at over 6 feet.
Right. And so I would be like scooching back on my chair and sort of grappling on the table for any sort of like kitchen knife that would be there as I see you approach. And then when I see your hand out with the copper, my eyes widen and I go, "Hey, put that away, you fool!"
Mm.
And have a seat. And he sort of looks around to see if anybody else in this tavern noticed that that there's been a copper chunk that has been pulled out, and if anybody maybe recognizes what it is.
Okay. So pretty much what happens is you kind of look around to see if anybody is like looking at you, or obviously if they've seen it or if they knew what it meant. Most people are too busy talking about what they are. You can tell that most of the people in here are merchants, which are an odd lot to be in a tavern. But most of them are just merchants, so they don't give a shit about anybody if they're not offering them money.
So real quick, did we sit down at the table that Horgar is sitting at, or did we go back to the bar? Like I approached you, I'm assuming like right after the transaction, like the interaction with Horgar. So I don't know if we just sat down with him. I would have if you had told me to.
I think for the sake of it, you should, because it would make me uncomfortable in character.
Yeah, Danny definitely would have just slumped down.
Like the last thing I want is for everyone to be around me right now. But
I just sit down right next to the bar.
But I also don't want to be not polite either.
Okay. So you and while you're looking around from that table, you definitely see the bartender, like he's kind of like narrowed his eyes, almost like trying to like wrap his head around something, but as soon as you look at him, he just turns back around and makes himself look busy.
Shit.
So you can also see Terrakan, but he has to tell you himself if he saw you or not.
I don't know if I would actually see the copper, but you would actually just see a helmeted figure just staring dead at you, just eyes locked on to the whole situation, since you're most likely the loudest thing happening around. So you can't really tell if I recognized the copper, but definitely see that I am just staring right at you.
And you're a minotaur, right?
Yes. I'm just full complete dark armor, and the only thing showing of my actual flesh is horn.
Yeah.
I'd say that you probably did see the copper. I can't like I said, I just held my hand out like completely extended and had a big chunk of ore like in my fingertips. It would have been hard to miss if you were already looking at him.
All right.
Avast, you there, the Minotaur. I journeyed once with one of your kind. Up in the Elkos Islands, 'twas. A fine warrior if I'd ever seen one. What be your name?
I would stand up, and you would see that I would match the height of our shrouded friend, but the only thing that almost reaches a little bit above is my horns, and I look to you and say, The name's Terra Khan. And yes, we are great fighters. Only person to almost take me down was another Minotaur.
And at this, you can see that the drunken elf is kind of looking you up and down, almost as if he's sizing you up, sort of like with this, I wonder if I could take this guy look on his face. But then he says, "Aye, and what be you doing here yourself up in these mountains?"
Tracking a group.
And are they here in this tavern?
And he'll look around almost like, wow, I never really thought of that. And he looks around and says, I don't know. Maybe.
Kind of under his breath, Horgar would go, "He's not a very bright Minotaur, is he?" And you would see me kind of going into like a breast pocket in my shirt, just kind of and kind of looking in to see if it's still there, and kind of nonchalantly closing up, and just kind of looking at all of you, and again trying to blend in to the furniture, essentially.
So, yeah, you guys are kind of all together at this point. And, it's at this point that you'll hear the doors just get flown open, and it's one of those things where the doors open and just a gust of wind just blows in, and you can just hear the storm that's going on outside. Since you guys have been up in these mountains, you know that it's kind of like storm season up here. Blizzards have been going off and on every like half an hour. Sometimes they last 10 minutes and then completely disappear. But, it's just out of nowhere. This blizzard is just... And, the doors try really hard to stay shut. And these guys just come in, and two of these guys are holding one of these guys, and he's like wailing, and he's in a lot of pain, and he's moaning, and half of his leg from the knee down is just burned, just black and charred. All the leather that was there has been kind of almost melted off or merged into his flesh. Whatever burned him was just that hot, and he's just kind of screaming, and they're just like, clear the table, and they just throw everything off, like 2 tables, slide them together, and just throw him on top of it. And everybody's starting to kind of crowd around at this point, and people are asking a lot of questions, but these 2 men are kind of staying quiet while they're trying to situate their friend. And one of the guys just kind of lets his other friend handle it and just goes, "Is there anyone with medicine? And anyone that has any kind of medical work? And he just kind of looks to his friend, kind of just in shock, just, I don't know. I don't know. And he's just trying to find the words.
And Horgar would almost immediately kind of jump to his feet, and it's very apparent that he's half the size of everyone else in the room now, especially next to a Minotaur and a half-orc. But he would try his best to kind of speak over the noise, which I guess we can determine whether or not that works. But he would basically kind of quietly at first say, "I can do it."
So he pretty much notices you as soon as you stand up. You can know, you should know that most of the people in this room are humans. So you kind of stand out just as much as the Minotaur. Actually, your whole group actually stands out. So, yeah, so you come over and he's like, "Oh, yes, thank you." And he just leads you over and he goes, are you some kind of, and he's trying to like think of what to call someone that does medicine, and he's like, are you some kind of witch doctor or some?
I would kind of stop in mid sentence and go, never mind that, just give me a chair.
And he quickly grabs you a chair, and the other guy kind of moves out of your way, and they both just kind of keep looking at that guy in just shock, just as if looking at him reminds him of whatever crazy thing just happened out there.
And you would see, I would take the charcoal one of the charcoals out of my pocket and turn to the friend and say, "This is going to seem unusual, but whatever you do, don't stop me." And then, without giving him a chance to reply, I would start drawing these glyphs on the skin of this person that's been injured. These look like dwarven inscriptions, basically. And I would put my hands over them, and they would start kind of glowing in a white light. And you would hear me uttering something which actually doesn't sound like dwarven at all. It sounds almost like elven, maybe half elven or very, very distinctly not dwarven. And basically, I'm casting healing, cure wounds
Okay.
on this person.
All right. So, the only thing I love your description, by the way. The only thing I will add to that description is that well, where are you drawing? Are you drawing this on the wound itself?
It's like half an inch above the wound. Like,
Oh, okay. So you're drawing it in like the air.
well, I'm actually touching his skin with the charcoal, so it's not pleasant. That's why I was telling him not to stop me.
Yeah. So like this guy. So everybody else, all you hear is like this guy just screaming at the top of his lungs as, you know, Horgar just, draws pretty much into this guy's burnt flesh, as kind of as you're touching the flesh, it's kind of sliding with you as you're drawing these things, and the guy is just screaming at the top of his lungs, and
Okay.
even after your spell has kind of gone through, he just kind of starts to just wildly shake, and then he just collapses. But you can see that his wounds have definitely begun to heal, and although he won't be able to walk out of here normally, he won't die or have to get the leg removed. But the other two just kind of, they just look shocked. Both of them kind of were holding on to this guy's shoulders to, prevent him from jumping up or something like that.
Mm.
And the one that was speaking to you before just kind of looks back over at you, and again he tries to search for the words, but instead he says, thank you so much.
It'd be pretty, but at least they won't have to amputate it. And you can see where the glyphs were. I kind of push away the charcoal pencil a little bit, and you can see that it's scarred now in that shape a little bit. But it's unfortunate, but it's better than nothing.
Yes, I agree. We don't have much. We lost a lot in the attack. But whatever you need, I promise I will give it to you.
And I would kind of turn to everyone and say, well, what do my new friends have to say? I don't require much.
And he would look back at who you are looking at and go, yes, and anything for you and your other healers, priests.
It would probably be best not to ask too many questions.
Oh, yes, probably, yes. You're right. What can I offer you? What can I repay you with for sparing my friend's life?
And Terrakan would stand up and look down at him and say, "You said you were attacked. By who and where did this happen?"
And he kind of closes his eyes, dreading the idea of recalling it, but takes a really big deep breath and gathers his courage, and he starts. He goes, "Yes, of course. It was down the road, just a little ways. We're going to try to get through Gren before nightfall, as I'm sure you know it is most dangerous on the grim side of the mountain. When something... we didn't get a clear look at it. The blizzard hit us so quick. We heard footsteps, and then just fire. A stream of fire came from in front of us. I swear it was glowing red eyes. It just peered at us from the snow. We couldn't see what it was. It couldn't have been that big. Maybe the size of a horse. Maybe a little bit bigger." He looks at his friend for like reassurance, but his friend just shakes his head as if he doesn't know either, and goes, "Yeah, but it just started attacking. Our horses were the first to go, both of them completely charred in the first pass. I got out, I drew my bow. My friend here, he drew his sword and his shield. He went out first to meet the beast, but I'm afraid that I was too far behind to see what happened, other than to hear his screams and to witness another gousting of flames from whatever the beast was. If I had to say, if I had to make a guess, I think it's the hobgoblins. I think they have some new thing, some new creature that they might have tamed. Beast tamers they are. Always around with those weird creatures. Now they have one that can clearly take everything. We barely managed to escape. I think the blizzard is what did it."
As that's all happening, the people around me will start to hear my breathing start getting heavier and heavier, like as the story progresses, to the point where, like, just as he's finishing, I slam the table and stand up at my full height, and I just start walking towards the door, and I kind of just glance at anybody that's wearing, especially the people that were at the table, Tricon and Danny, because they look strong. I kind of just glance at them and start moving to go out after them.
And I would stand up and give him a little bit of a nod, the man that just told us this story, and then start walking out, following my new large friend.
I think Horgar would be a little bit more hesitant, kind of maybe doing something like, "Hey, where are you going? Didn't you just hear fire? Glowing red eyes? Oh, damn it all, let's go on an adventure."
And as you're going, you would hear a voice call out at you in Elven. And you would probably do a double take because you don't recognize this voice at all, and it's actually the abbot talking to you. But he learned the Elven language with his people before he was captured by pirates, and the only time he's ever heard common is pirates, so he speaks like a pirate. But in Elvish, he sounds like a very eloquent elf, and he would call after you, "Elithil, Lalam that held its forth and if you understand Elvish, you would understand. Hey, aren't you forgetting something, dwarf?
And I would kind of look to either side of the room and so funny, I didn't remember seeing an elf in the room. And then I'm kind of patting down my pockets, and out of character, I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to because I'm having late night brain right now.
The barmaid owes you 10 gold pieces.
Oh, right. I think I would say, well, at least the voices in my head are useful. And I would kind of saunter over to the bar and try to tap the top of the bar table, but not quite be tall enough. Maybe have to climb onto a bar stool and then, milady,
Yeah.
a coin, please.
So you would already see her have fixed your picture into a very nice frame, and putting it on the wall. As soon as you tap the table, she rolls her eyes, but not at you, at her own like forgetfulness, and she goes through her like side pouch and pulls out 10 gold and hands it to you. And she stops for a second, and then she says, "If you're going on this adventure, come back when you're done if you survive, and I'll give you another gold for helping us." And she kind of looks at everyone and goes, "And I'm sure the bartender would love to give you all more coins."
And I would bite the coin and say, "The gold do not die. What a bargain." And I would kind of turn on my heels and say out loud, "Whoever the elf is who can get inside my head, there's some gold in it for you. Although I would have forgotten entirely if it wasn't for you." And I kind of hold out like 3 gold coins.
Danny will come pat you on the back and, "Har har! It's been a long time I haven't heard the language of me people. Never thought it would be through the mouth of a dwarf. Onward, my friend, and keep ye gold. You've earned it."
And out of character, Alex, what language is that? It sounds like a legit language.
It's gibberish.
Oh, okay.
That's some very elegant gibberish, man.
Yeah, it almost sounded German for a minute there. So I would just kind of bow and say, "That's it. Nah, my now."
So yeah, as you guys are kind of I'm assuming everybody's stepping out at this point, right?
Yeah, I made for the door pretty much as soon as I heard that there was something
Yeah, I'm
like obstructing the
outside
path.
with him. Yeah, I'm going to be right beside him. And if he would have stopped, I would have looked back, walked another 20 feet, and then stopped with him.
All right. And the last two are you guys are pretty much headed out now. Is there any other questions you would like to ask anybody else in the tavern before you leave?
I think I don't have any. How about you?
The guys told us it was down the road that this happened, right?
Yep.
And you mentioned there was only one road, so we do kind of know where we're going.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep. So pretty much you guys know that the way that people describe the mountain is that on one side is the sunny side, which is where the copper sun is, that city over there, that nation, and on the other side is the grim side, which is obviously grim. And everybody here is going towards, well, what they said was that they were going towards the grim side of the mountain.
Yeah.
So as long as you head that direction, the road should leave you there. It's a really old road, so it doesn't break off and splinter and go in all different directions. It's just kind of a natural pass through or over the mountain. So yeah.
All right.
So if everybody is outside, once you guys kind of get a little ways out of the tavern, you'll see one of the man that was talking to you earlier. He'll kind of rush after you and say, "Wait, please wait, wait. I don't have much, but I did manage to convince some friends here to let me take you to where it was. You're gonna go after the beast, right?"
Yes.
Then,
Yar.
then the least I can do is offer you a ride. And he kind of looks up at the sky and says, "The blasted weather can make it difficult to walk, if not deadly. It's really dangerous to get caught up here in the blizzard season. So if you will just wait a moment, I will go and get my horse and my carriage, and I will meet you back here. Is that okay?"
Ari.
Yes, with great pace, I promise. And he rushes back, and no more than in a few minutes, he comes back with a horse-pulled carriage and motions for you guys to get on.
So I will, but very hesitantly and awkwardly.
Yeah, I imagine the carriage kind of like leans terribly to one side for a moment.
It's more I haven't ridden on one of these, so like I don't really know how to get on it, kind of. And I glance at the horse for a second and kind of like you hear my lips smack a little bit. But I figure I should leave it for the time being.
All right, and I'll hop on the opposite side of him to kind of counterbalance out the carriage, so we don't have our two heavy people on the same side.
Right.
I imagine Horgar would be between the two of you, like a toddler between two football players.
Yeah, and the abbot, if this is some sort of closed carriage, the abbot would want to be sitting on a part that's sort of outside, like maybe either in the front. He's actually enjoying the rain, which A, is helping him sober up a little bit, and B, reminds him of being on his ship with the wind in his face. And C, he can kind of keep a lookout from the if he can see outside, so he's keeping his eyes open.
Okay. So yeah, you
I'd
can
actually,
set up
if it's enclosed, I'd actually be on the roof. I wouldn't go inside of it.
Okay. So the half orc is on the roof, and Abed is up front with the guy.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
be sitting next to the guy.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not raining. It's like a blizzard. So at the moment, it's not blowing really hard anymore. It's kind of just light snowfall, which I don't know how much you've gotten that out in the ocean, but it's pretty interesting to see up here. Also, the terrain that's up here is mostly rocks. Even though this place is called Springdale, there's almost no vegetation up here. It's like you'll run into like a few trees and some thickets, but like as far as the pass is concerned, it's mostly just like really big cliffs that kind of line the pass. And this small little town is kind of tightly nooked inside of this small opening, which is, again, mostly rocks. So, yeah, so since you guys are all in the carriage now, this guy's going to just start up. And as he's driving, Abed, he's going to turn to you, and he's just going to say, "I know nobody will probably tell you this, but we're all very thankful that someone has finally come to look into this. It's been a problem for at least a few weeks now." the disappearances. A lot of them, actually, maybe more than a few weeks. A lot of merchants would come up this way all the time, you know, maybe for a lot worse reasons than we would like to admit, but either way, we all have businesses and families back home, and we would like this place to be as safe as possible. So, I don't know who you are or who you work for, but I do want to say thank you.
And by this, Danny the abbot is pretty much dumbfounded. For the past 9 years, most of the strangers he's met have been people either running, screaming from him, or at his cutlass, and he's never really paused for a moment to think that all these people have families and lives, and just all this stuff starts running through his head, and he sort of almost baffles because he's never had anybody thank him for what he usually does. And so he says, "Arr, yar, har, har, har," and just sort of pats him on the back, not knowing what to say.
And
then goes deep into thought.
Okay, so he kind of takes that as a sign that he may have said too much, and just kind of is quiet for the remainder of the trip. So it doesn't take you guys that long. It may have taken maybe about 15 or so minutes to get a good distance. And you, Abet, and also the Wendigo, you definitely can tell where this happened at. Because even though the snow has kind of covered everything up, there are two lumps on the snow that you can logically identify as the horses' bodies. And you can't see anything being charred, but again, that's because the snow has already pretty much covered everything. And he stops maybe a farther distance than he should have from it. And he just looks at you guys and just goes, well, this is it. The only thing I will say is, in recent days, we have noticed that the hobgoblins have started to circle the village up here. I would like to tell you where the village is, but in all honesty, I don't know. They somehow live off of the pass, but there is no other pass outside of the pass. So I'm afraid I can't help you there. But if you can find it, it may be worth investigating to find out what these goblins are doing, why they are doing this. If not, you can probably just find the goblins themselves. Just, and he tries to, like, think of the words and decides that he best just be quiet.
Do you happen to have a map of the area?
And he goes, most of my belongings were destroyed with the carriage. And he kind of looks at you can tell that there's like splinters of wood inside of like the pile of stuff underneath the snow. And he goes, but there might be something in the back. It's not my carriage, so it is possible that they might have something that you can use. We could take a look.
Pillage and plunder.
He just goes, yeah, well, maybe not exactly.
I'll hop down off the roof while you guys are talking and just say, I can find it. And start walking over to where the horse bodies are with my axe out. Were these horses burnt?
Yeah, so if you uncover them, like if you just take the snow off of them, they are just black. Like it's almost as if they were burned so quickly that they just kind of burned and then hardened like that. They've been kind of like encased in burnt flesh.
Okay, so I couldn't like cut a leg off and eat it, right?
Oh, you could, but it would be literally like
Like,
it's
is it
all
burned
yeah, it's
through?
just like ash pretty
Okay,
much.
yeah, then all right. I was wondering if it was like charred or cooked or whatever. But yeah, all right. So yeah, just I went over and looked in it, but on my way over there, I said I can find the village and the hobgoblins. Let's go. Let's stop wasting time.
Oh, and to that the man just goes, "Oh, yes, of course, of course," and he just stays where he's sitting, and he just kind of keeps shaking his head, yes.
So Terracon, feeling the carriage kind of lift up a little bit as the heavy Wendigo jumps off. He'll come off. He'll come out and look around and say, "This is it. Where are your hobgoblins? Where's your fire?
Hmm.
Who is it that we slay?"
And are you directing this question at this guy, or are you just like
Uh,
asking openly?
kind of just openly, just yelling it out.
I'll yell back from the horse carcass, like, "Come, goat man, we will find them."
Not a very stealthy bunch, are you?
Terracon, kind of ignoring Hogar, walks over to the Wendigo and says, "Finding them out in here? That's damn near impossible. How would they come to us?" And Terracon is just going to breathe in and just let out a mighty roar out into this blizzard. And as soon as it ends, he's going to start taking in more air to do it again.
All right. As you do that, I pull my horn off my shoulder and put it to my mouth and just
So
let out this
Wendigo,
Yes,
before
and Danny also has a horn, and he's joining you guys.
so okay,
I think while this is happening, Horgar is going, no tact at all, and then he falls out of the carriage and lands face first into the snow, and just his feet are sticking out.
so the Wendigo, since you live out here, I would like you to make a intelligence check with advantage.
Okay. Uh, 16.
Okay. So what you personally know about hobgoblins is that out of all the savage creatures, they are by far the ones that are not savage. They are very smart. They are very intelligent. They do not rush and just attack people. They normally will flank. Um, yeah, so they'll just flank, they'll hide, and they'll wait, and they'll observe. So they'll stalk a target for literally months to make sure that there is no, um, no surprises. And then when they go in, they'll go in silently. They're not like orcs or anything like that. They're not stupid. They're
Okay.
very militaristic. They have a very strict code of ethics.
They're not like us.
Right.
So it may be that like while you're doing this that you realize, oh wait, these are hobgoblins, not orcs.
Yeah, so I put the horn to my mouth and it's enormous. It's like this huge like 2.5 foot like ram's horn that's like spiraled, so it's even larger. But yeah, I put it to my lips and then I put it down and put my hand over Tarakarn's mouth and I say, "They will find us, but we won't see them if we do this."
Very well. But I think if they attack, we'll be more than able to take them. I think once they start attacking, we'll be able to see them.
Be better to attack first.
I
Yes, I'm
agree
sure
there.
they'll never know we're coming now.
Did I find a map in the carriage or not?
Yeah, so if you were rummaging through the carriage, you'd definitely find like a bag that has, basic survival tools in it. Yeah, and it would have a map, some like, bandages, stuff like that. Basic like first aid stuff that you might need out on a trek.
Awesome. I take the bag, and I'm pretty good at maps and stuff. So,
Yeah. So
is it possible for me to locate this village, or?
so when you look at the map, you definitely know that you can definitely tell that the village is not on there, but you can also tell that what the guy said was very accurate. The map is a very like zoomed in version and has a very detailed like location by location where bridges are, where like passages that have been collapsed are, where you have to go around, so on and so forth. But there is no side passages. The road never splits. It only goes forward or back. So, kind of like he said, it's very odd that that there would be a side passage on a road that has no other passages. You can also tell that where you guys are right now is pretty much bordered by really high cliff faces. So, it's really hard to imagine that there's just some random side passage where you are that goes into these cliffs.
So, I just have a question. Is this far enough away from my territory that I wouldn't really know the area? Or is this lower in the mountains?
This is still pretty high in the mountains.
Okay,
What I would say is that this is not your road, but it's very similar to your road. It's similar enough that you could definitely be able to spot something if it's out of the ordinary. But again, you may have traveled down this road once or twice, but it's not like the road that you stick to.
okay, all right. Yeah, then I'd seeing him waiting behind us. I'd go back over and just say, I can find the village. Let us continue.
Aye, me hearty. And yeah, he says he knows where he's going, so I'm going to follow him, but at the same time, I've got the map, and I'm, tracking our progress.
It's like, yeah, man, I totally believe you.
Exactly.
All right.
And I'll
So
pull the dwarf out of the snow on the way back.
so do you guys want to investigate the scene any further, or do you guys just want to try to find the village?
I wanna just look to see if there's any sign of what happened. See if I can tell whether or not everything's clear, basically, before I just keep walking down a one-way road.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and make me a survival check then?
Alright.
And Danny is going to be
Investigation
looking
check,
for
if
anything
it's
valuable. He's trying to loot.
Okay, then you would probably be making an investigation check or
Okay.
perception check. Either
Oh,
one.
I'll do that.
I got a 19 on my survival check.
Okay. So what you pretty much start doing is you start pulling back the snow to reveal, what's underneath. And what you know to look for specifically is the layer of snow before the fresh snow falls down. So the layer of snow that's harder, that is almost like ice. It's easier to look for tracks on that than the snow that falls on top of it.
Yeah.
Even though it's still really hard to track in it, and it's really hard to uncover any kind of footprints. And when you look at the carriage, it's, most of the wood is burnt. You can tell that the carriage pretty much sat there, burned, and then crumbled upon itself. Anything within the carriage pretty much went up in flames with it. It turns out that this guy was mostly just selling, leathers and other kinds of furs, so obviously they all went up in smoke. Almost nothing is left of those. Yeah, so that's pretty much all you can see. You can't see any tracks, though. Most of the tracks have either been blown away by the wind or covered up by the snow again, and it's too difficult for you to really make out what it was. Although you can tell that it was definitely big. It was
Okay.
definitely the size of a person.
So can I at least deduct that whatever the direction that the flame came from is the direction that we're heading? Could I tell that whether or not it doubled back and went toward? Well, I'd imagine it wouldn't have gone towards the tavern, but we should continue this way. They basically retreated back that way, is what I'm kind of wondering.
So you do notice that one of the horses is definitely missing a big chunk of its leg, and that the leg has been kind of dragged off towards Gren. And pretty much as it's being dragged off, you'll see that like every once in a while, like a bone will show up, or like chunks of flesh will be frozen over inside of the snow.
Okay.
And eventually there's like nothing left, but you can tell that whatever it was eating, that piece of the leg while it was walking away, but didn't even bother to eat the rest of it.
All right.
Well, there be nothing of interest here, Jim lads.
Whatever was here has moved. We should continue.
That we should.
All right, we take off. I guess everybody's following Wendigo?
Yeah, I'll definitely take point.
So I will say that this is definitely a really wide pass. So it's big enough for 2 carriages to pretty much pass one another. So, you guys could all walk side by side if you'd like.
As long as we be staying along the main road, I'd like to take the lead and go up front for a bit of scouting and keeping an eye out. If that be all right with the rest of you.
Horgar would definitely not want to be out in the front, in the vanguard of this.
You stay here with the 2 big gym lads. They'll take good care of you.
All right, so I'd imagine then that Terracon and I would just like take the sides a little bit, like probably range closer to the walls, just so that we don't get surrounded.
Kind of like a diamond pattern.
Yeah, or even just a triangle with like Horgar in the middle, or behind wherever he'd be.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm going to go ahead and go in front and sort of do stealth and perception ahead of the group, if that's all right.
Yep. So what I would like you to do is I would actually like you to make a stealth roll and a survival check.
Okay.
Right.
So here comes stealth. And I got a 14 on that. And then my survival, I got a 20.
A 20?
Yep.
Alright. So you got a 14 on your stealth check?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So you are finding it very difficult to be silent in snow, whether you're used to walking in snow or not.
Absolutely not.
So, by the way, I'm assuming that you're dressed appropriately to be in the mountains, right?
Yeah, I would assume that the Copper Jackals might have, when they sent me on this mission, warned me. And if not, since I've gotten here, I would have purchased some coats for myself. I used to always be bare-chested, but ever since I was bitten and I have the coin of the Copper Jackals encrusted in my shoulder, I wear a cloak so that no one can tell.
Okay. So yeah, even though you're like still, decently warm, it is not even close to as warm it is out on the ocean in the tropics.
Yeah.
And you are just freezing out here. And being like knee deep in the snow is just making it 10 times worse. And you find it very difficult to, move about in this, this snow. And you can't really track anything. Just kind of like I said before, it's the fresh snow that just kind of came over with the blizzard is making it very difficult to articulate where you are and where everything else is. So it's obviously, since the pass goes straight, you're just walking forward, but you can't tell if the beast went forward, if the beast climbed up the ledge, or you can't really tell anything. But you do know that you're moving forward. So which one of you guys is on the left and which one of you guys is on the right?
I'm going to. I would think that I would be on the right. I'm kind of dragging my axe behind me, but I will leave that up to Wendigo since he was kind of more of a leader.
I'll take the left. That's fine.
Okay. So, like, what would be your passive perception?
12.
Poop.
Okay, since you are keeping to the left of the wall, as you guys are walking, and you guys have been walking for about an hour now, you pretty much start feeling wind. Just like a good gust of wind just kind of brush up against your face as you walk past this wall, and then at a certain point the wind disappears.
I'll yell stop, and then motion for them to come back, and I'll start looking at the wall.
So, from what you can see, it is obviously just a part of the wall, but there's definitely some weird wind thing going on right now. And it's possible that it's just coming over the edge, but it just feels like there's a strong gust of wind just being blown directly at you, you know?
Okay, like coming out of the wall or coming down the wall?
It feels like it's coming out of the wall, but rationally, it must be coming down from the wall.
Right.
What is it?
All right. Well, I'm gonna start like touching the wall and looking for like handholds on it or any part of it that seems to be like worn down a little bit from use.
Okay. So you start touching the wall, but as soon as you try to touch the part that is blowing wind, you just kind of fall through it. To
Okay.
everybody watching, it almost looks like he just melts into the wall.
Where are you? What happened? Where are you? I'm kind of just going to be looking around.
All right. So since I didn't bother to look back when it happened. I kind of just took it at face value and kept walking. So like, what do I see directly in front of me?
So what you see directly in front of you is a very, very, very narrow passage. This passage, especially for you, is very uncomfortable. It looks like it's just barely capable of allowing you to walk forward, but you and definitely the Minotaur will be walking in like you'll have to be kind of tilting your arms back and forth
Okay.
to kind of adjust for the narrowness. But it is definitely a passage, and it definitely seems like the wind is blowing through it, and you can see the sky above you. So someone has clearly put up some kind of something here. Depending on how much you know about magic, you would know that it's some sort of magic that has gone up here to make it seem like it is a part of, just the wall, but clearly this is a natural opening here. The only thing unnatural about this is that up a ways on this slope, it turns into a stairway that goes. It just seems like it goes up for at least 100 steps.
Okay. So my reaction to the wall is based on the fact that I have had to learn how to conceal myself living here, um, just because of the temperament of the people. Like basically, I don't want to be found, so I actually do dabble in illusion magic.
Mhm.
So I'm not even really phased by the thought of it. Though I do like see it as clever. I'm not really phased by it. But anyway, I'll take in the scene, start walking towards the stairs, and remember that there's people with me, and I'll back out of the wall so that like I'm walking backwards when I come out,
All
and
right.
I'll turn to the group and say, "I found the village."
Very well. Then lead on.
Wait, and I kind of glance around everybody, and I'm looking to see if anybody has a sword on them.
I have a great axe and a couple of javelins.
Okay. Do either the
Yeah,
elf or the dwarf have a sword?
I'm walking back towards the group because I was a ways ahead of you guys, but you yelled stop, so I've been sort of making my way back from my sort of scouting position, and as you see me approach, I have a bow in my hand that I have out, and I have a long wooden staff on the back of my back.
Okay. And Horgar, what do you have?
Technically, I have a longsword, but I don't imagine that I actually have one. Like, my character gets one from being created, but being more of an urchin, I don't think he would actually have something that was so valuable on him.
Okay. So just like glancing around at everyone's weaponry, I turn to Tarakan and I say, Goatman, pull out your spear and go in front. The passage is narrow, and we won't be able to swing our weapons effectively in there if anything happens upon us.
I thought you said you found the village.
I did. And I just pushed the Goatman. I pushed Tarakan towards the wall and I'm urging him to go where I just went.
Very well. And instead of pulling out my javelins, I'm going to put my axe back on my shoulder and then kind of crouch down with my horns leading me out. And I'll start walking a little bit weary into this illusion.
Okay. So you pretty much see exactly what I described again. The slope goes up a ways. It's a pretty steep slope. But it gets very steep once it hits the stairs.
All right.
And then I'm going to take the rear. I'm going to urge everyone else through and take the rear.
All right, and I'm again going to offer to sort of scout ahead of the party and sneak, since we don't really know what's going to be up here.
I'll suggest that you don't, just because it'll be difficult to do anything besides stab at anything in front of us, at least moving through this area. Once it widens out, you can go ahead.
I won't need to stab anything if they don't find me.
Right, but if they do... So.
I think not knowing about this plan, I would probably be drawing a glyph on the back of my hand and just holding it out, and it's kind of glowing. I'm basically just casting light on myself.
Oh,
now they'll always find us.
And I say, don't worry, I won't be found, and I take off.
All right.
So if the light is sort of behind us, I would be ahead of the group where the light doesn't really give off our presence yet, and I would be sneaking.
Okay. Oh, so you're going further out. You're going in front of the Minotaur?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
I'm
here's
going
pretty
to
much
miss
what
that
happens.
guy.
So you would be the first one to come upon these stairs, I bet. And I don't know if this would stop you or not, but the sight of them is definitely odd. So all of these stairs have been carved out of what looks like the surrounding stone, but the stones have been placed like bricks, making up these stairs. And what's really strange about them is that there are 5 flights of stairs, and each one has a different pattern going on with them. The first pattern that you come upon has a lot of these Celtic symbols, if I could describe them in like real life terms. But there's about like 5 different pairs of these symbols. One of them is, interwoven circles. Another is like intertwined triangles. Another one is squares. Another one is like some kind of octagon. But the last ones are blank. And there seem to be pairs. Most of the pairs aren't touching each other, but they are all kind of like spread out going up this flight of stairs. And there's at least 20 steps in this flat in this flight all the way up to like a flat surface.
Hmm.
A landing. That's what you call that.
Yep.
Avast! Have a look at these here symbols. He whispers back to his party when they get there.
Ooh, symbols.
All right, so Terracon's going to be following up, not almost crawling on his hands as well, trying to prepare if he needs to charge someone. And as he gets up there, he'll kind of stand up, creak his back, and stare at the symbols. See if he reads whatever they are.
Yeah, I definitely would be curious, just in character, to look at these. So I'm gonna roll up perception as well.
Okay.
Ooh, that is a natural one.
Yeah.
Symbols? What symbols?
So Hogar, I would really. Here's what I would like you to describe for me.
Okay.
You were like so giddy to like look at these symbols that you accidentally trip and like just land on all of them.
Oh,
I want you to like describe what happened.
like what triggers from this, or?
No, I just want you to describe why you tripped. Like, just describe the scene for me, bro.
Okay. I think it's almost like watching a kid who's just gotten into Disneyland, and I'm just sprinting into this room, and without looking at anything, like a kid in a candy store, and like a kid in a candy store with a loosely tied shoelace, I'm just gonna facepalm right into these runes or into these what would you call them, glyphs, I guess, or symbols. I'm just gonna kind of, like, one moment I'm running and the next moment I'm just sprawled out in such a way that I'm touching every single one of them.
Okay. So what I would like everybody to do is to roll a dexterity save, please. And obviously, Hogar, you are rolling with disadvantage.
Thanks, Hogar.
I just wanted to look at the pretty pictures. Oh.
Did you want us to type that into?
No.
Yeah, you guys can all type it into the chat if you'd like.
The 19 to a 2.
Holy shit, Alex. Oh, I'm kind of proud.
Oh, right. It's a dexterity, so I can add something to that. Let me see. No, I can't. I am a dwarf. Dexterity. Ha!
Oh, I know that feeling. What's that?
So the Wendigo, what did you roll?
I believe that is an 8.
He rolled an 8.
I rolled an 8, yeah.
Okay. So pretty so everybody except, matter of fact, here's what I'm going to do. So a bet. This is pretty much what you see. Okay? You are the only one that manages to survive this. Okay? You just see the ground start to almost grow ice on it. Like, ice just seems to come up from the cracks. And explain to me how you manage to position yourself in a way that once the entire ground is covered with ice, and just the most powerful wind you have ever felt just blows everyone down this newly built ice slide all the way back out. How you manage to just stay there.
So Danny, as soon as he sees the ice forming, jumps up into the air. He sort of like touches down to get as maximum power, jumps up into the air, twirls, and sort of, since this passageway is so small, is able to sort of go ninja style with all four limbs on the walls, almost all the way up at the ceiling, and just sort of hold himself there and sort of parallel to the ground. So he's sort of like this, and so the wind isn't actually blowing at him like a sail, but going around his body and pushing everyone else out under him.
Thank you.
And Horgar is going down face first.
Oh man.
He's just
So, yeah, you guys all pretty much just slide down this ice slide and just back out into the snow. And everybody except for a bet is going to take 1 damage, because again, I suck at rolling.
Nice.
Or maybe I'm good at rolling. Who knows? But yeah, so you guys all take 1 damage, and yeah, you guys are just all kind of clustered together outside of the illusion.
All right. So
Ice slide.
so the wind actually blew the hood off my face. So for the first time, you guys are seeing me, and I'm just covered in this like shock white, basically fur. Like usually like orcs and half orcs are like have pretty coarse, sparse hair, but I definitely like I'm like covered basically. In my face, like the skin on my face that you can see, or skin anywhere that you can see it, is this deep blue color, and my eyes are like completely black. And I kind of, as I'm getting off the ground, I'm kind of scrambling up, and I reach for my hood, and I like look over and see that you guys saw me, so I just leave it down. And if either of you are from the area, you probably have heard of me. I don't know.
I think the only one that is from the area is Terracon.
Yeah, I've been just wandering, so I might have heard rumors of the scary one.
Probably it's one of the stories the old man told you when you were traveling here.
Exactly.
Right. So I don't know, like depending on how much time you spent in the region, you probably heard stories that whatever don't line up. But this is definitely the hair and the skin color are like the two things that seem to correlate between all the stories. And I just start moving back up. I pull out my backpack, kind of just ignoring whether or not you notice me, and I pull out a hammer and some steel pythons, and just walk back into the illusion. And if the floor is still slick like that, I'm going to just start hammering them in, making footholds.
So you guys definitely would not have seen this, but I bet you would have seen this. The ice just kind of melts and flows back into like the stone as if it was being just like sucked in there. So by the time you like gather your wits and go back inside, it's just as it was before you went in.
Okay.
I won't be so enthusiastic this time, I promise.
I have a quick question for the DM. Is the passageway along these steps just as small as it is before it becomes steps, like very crammed, or does it sort of widen out?
I'd say it widens out a bit. It widens out to about a 2-person thing instead of like a 1 person.
So there's no way I could be like advancing like with one hand on either wall.
No. Well.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
And are the walls pretty slick, or does it look like something like cavernous that I could traverse across?
I would say that it's kind of a little bit of both. I would say that some of the walls have definitely been covered in ice, but you could manage it. It would just be like you can, based on what you're doing right now, you can tell that it would be really hard to to try to traverse this wall. You almost know that you're kind of lucky in a sense that you managed to place yourself on two perfect spots that were not covered in ice.
All right. He's not going to try it. He'll just sort of climb back down in front of the stairs and wait.
All right. So now so what's the deal with the stairs? Like, is it just a ramp now, or?
Nope, they're back to being stairs.
Okay.
The symbol stayed, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna try to climb up the stairs then, and avoid stepping on the symbols.
You're going to step on the stones that are blank?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you do step on the stones that are blank, nothing happens, and you are able to traverse perfectly.
And I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm just gonna keep going up then.
I'm
Like,
going
once
to
again, forgetting that I have people with me.
I'm going to do the same, but as we get up there, I am going to grab onto Hogar, not trusting him, and kind of start getting ready to toss him up the stairs, trying to avoid. And
The dwarf. No.
Dwarves are pretty solid too. No mean
yeah, so I'm going to see if he protests at all to this.
I think Horgar is still kind of in his own little world, so he's not going to say no, but he also has no idea what's in store for him.
Okay, so I am going to try to toss him up as far as I can over the glyphs.
Okay. So please make a strength check.
What are you
And
going to
I will warn you, if you crit on this strength check, it'll almost be like getting like a failure.
Yes.
So I don't know if I'm proficient in dwarf tossing. But
I would say that this is probably like a solid like not acrobatics, athletics check.
Yeah, dwarves are pretty solid.
okay, so that will be a 8.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Yeah. I'll let you know. It was a 2 on the die roll, so be happy with that.
So just imagine that you go to pick me up and I'm like, what are you going to give me a hug? Ah!
So, you guys can describe this, but the way I imagine it is that like you're trying to like chuck this guy up there, and at the last second he realizes what you're about to do and just starts freaking out, and then he just fucks up the whole throw, and you end up just throwing him on like the last stair.
The last stair from the top or the last stair from the bottom?
Well, no, like the last stair on the landing. But I'll give you guys this. He actually lands on a blank stair.
Ooh.
So it's
Oh,
kind of
I
like,
like
thank God.
So hearing him scream, I'll turn around and grab him and just like try to hold him to the stair so he doesn't roll back down. I don't know if you want me to. Yeah.
And you realize that you've got my foot.
Just to hold him there.
You realize you've got my foot kind of like grabbing a kid that's falling down, and you're just kind of instinctively like, ah!
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of upside down again. Woe to me.
All right. So
While this is happening, the abbot has sort of discreetly made his way up the stairs without touching the runes, and started scouting ahead again stealthily.
okay. So what stairs do you stick to? So I will say this: each flight of stairs has a different symbol on it. So the second flight of stairs has pretty much all the flags of Dragon Gren on it. So it has all the flags of almost every nation it could fit inside of here. It has, the flag of the Copper Suns. It has like the flag of every nation you can think of. There's one particular flag that you're not aware of, that you don't. Again, it's like at the tip of your tongue. You can almost remember what it is, but you're not sure. And again, you're probably the only one that would know of it, since you're the only one that sails.
Yeah, Danny knows flags pretty well because the ships that he pirates have the flags of their nation on them. And based on like what kind of stuff they carry, he's got some experience in that, I would think. And this flag is one he doesn't recognize. Is that right?
So why don't you make an intelligence check for me? Because last time you were drunk, so maybe this time you'll be able to recognize it.
I will do so. That is a 5.
Wow.
Yo,
Okay. So, I'll give you advantage, because obviously you're a sailor. You should definitely know this.
With advantage, I rolled a critical fumble on my second roll, so that would remain a 5.
Okay.
Oh man.
So,
I guess I'm not a very smart pirate.
So, here's what I'll say. You recognize that it's near that cluster of islands. You almost want to say that it's a part of it, but it's like right at the tip of your tongue. Like, you know exactly what it is, but you just can't think of the name. Nobody really goes to that island. They have some kind of deal with outsiders, but you can almost think, like, you almost know exactly what it is. But, maybe as your rolls get better for this, you'll eventually figure it out. But anyway, there's also, again, a blank stairs.
But there's only one blank stair in the whole flight of stairs?
No, there's like a set of them. So each of these flags repeat, but they all have like a set of them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if there's like 20 stairs going up, there's like 20 blank stones kind of scattered about, and there's like one on each row of stairs.
You said it was set up like bricks, so yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say? We step on the blank stairs again?
And I would point to the flag of Clay Hill and say, whatever you do, don't step on that.
Alright, Danny's gonna try it.
He's gonna step on the blank stone?
Yeah, just keep going up with the blank stones.
Okay. As soon as you step on the blank stone, nothing happens.
Dun dun dun!
And you manage to definitely make your way up them, although you will definitely notice that it feels like the stones have been purposely spread out further, making it a little bit more difficult than the first time. On the third staircase, this one just seems to be kind of random. It just has numbers and letters written in almost every language imaginable. But again, a set of blank stones going up them. But again, this time they seem very sporadic. Like, you almost have to jump to some of them in order to connect. So this time, if you would like to choose to go on the blank stones or any other set of stones, you would have to make an acrobatics check.
I will do that as I'm coming up to it, so I got a 16.
Alright. So yeah, you just skipping up. Everybody just sees this half orc just skip up these stairs.
So to follow him, I got a very nice 3.
Okay.
Sorry.
I would like everybody to go ahead and roll a dexterity check, please.
Even Wendigo, who's already at the top of the stairs?
Yep, the entire flight turns to ice.
Saving throw, right?
Oh man, you are having really bad luck, man.
No. I've literally rolled 1, 2, and 3 for my rolls. Alright, time to change the dice. The juju's all wrong with this one.
Okay.
I know that feeling.
Alright.
Oh man.
So, Hogar, you are the only one that manages not to get, some kind of footing, and you just slide down with the wind and with everything, and you just get tossed out of the illusion again, and you take 5 damage this time.
I imagine the reason why is because the only thing that I could step on that would keep me from falling is the flag of Clayhill, and I just can't bring myself to do it. It's like stepping on the American flag. It's just not patriotic. So you just hear me go, whoa! I'm okay! Anyone that can see me, there's just blood just pouring out of my nose.
Oh, that's great, man. I'll give you an inspiration. I just really like the idea of like, oh, damn it. So, all right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to try then to pull out my my gear that I was going to use to climb back up, and while we're waiting for him, I'm going to try to set up like a handhold course for him to make it easier for him to get between the stones. So I'm going to like go back down the stairs and hammer Titans into the wall and like attach my rope through it to create like a handrail for him to zigzag up the stairs with.
Okay. All right.
All right, while he's doing that, I'm going to try to get all the way up.
Okay. So, you guys are on the 3rd flight, so you only have 2 more flights to go.
All right.
So,
Still have to roll for both of these?
yes. So, this flight is very interesting. One of the ones, I think it was the second one, had flags of many nations. This one has symbols of different organizations. Among them, you can see the old symbol of the Copper Legion. And again, there's another symbol that you have definitely seen before.
Oh,
But
no.
you just, I don't know, let's roll an intelligence check and see if we get a little bit higher this time.
It's to dig boot camshafts.
I think I'm jinxed on these rolls, man.
I just like how your rolls are
Oh my god, I got a 2!
Yeah.
Minus 1 is 1! My rolls on dexterity are so phenomenal, and my rolls on intelligence are just abysmal. This is hilarious.
roll with advantage, bro.
Okay.
The DM really wants you to have this information.
Well, I just feel like he's a pirate, so he should know it.
What is this
Yeah, he
flag?
didn't pay attention.
On advantage, I got a 6.
Well, to be fair, that's better than a 5. So, I mean, slowly, you're getting up there.
I feel like I'm getting it like bit by bit. And finally one day I'm gonna be like, oh.
What's happening is that you're like realizing that like you've seen a bunch of things that are all related to each other, and you just can't remember what.
So, what I'll say is that you see this this particular symbol to this particular organization, and you know that it has to that the flag before is the country in which this organization exists, and it's just gonna bother you. Like, it is on the tip of your, like, you know exactly what both of these things are, and you know that this one in particular has the name Copper in it. It's another copper thing. It's a copper thing in some other nation that you can't it's like the moon, the more did it starts with an M. You know the country starts with an M, and that this thing is a copper something, copper something. But other than that, all you can really see is that there's more blank stones and other organizations on this one.
Well, if this is really bothering me, I'm going to yell back to my companions and be like, "Ahoy! Now, this may sound a bit strange, but have you ever heard of an organization that might start with an M and have the word copper in it? It's on the tip of my tongue." And see if anybody can't help me.
Okay. You guys can all make an intelligence check if you would like.
All right. Would it be history?
Yeah, you can make a history check if you'd like.
All right.
Very good.
So I'm just gonna suggest that where my character came from, like Hawaii, which is like in the like the western, southwestern, like area of here, that I basically like went east and then north, like directly into the Svir Mountains, and I've only like experienced that area. Like I think there's one other continent under this one that I stopped in. So I'm gonna roll at disadvantage unless this is from there.
Okay.
So should I roll in disadvantage? I don't know where that island changes.
So here's what I would say. That island is actually north of Hawaii.
Okay.
So it is very far north.
Okay, then yeah, I'm gonna roll at disadvantage then. So I got a 13 with.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot better than I've been doing with advantage, man.
I'm fairly happy with my 2 right here.
All right. So, all right.
I imagine Horgar's so happy to share this information, but he gets interrupted by you with your 13 matching my 13.
So what you guys both know is, as you guys are trying to think of like all the organizations that have existed with the name Copper on it, it does almost feel like there might be a lot, but with an M, you can't think of anything. But then you think there is a country called the Moors, and there is a thing called the New Legion there. It could be that that's what he's talking about.
The New Legion?
Yeah, there's an organization there called the New Copper Legion.
Hmm.
But other than that, the only thing you know, and does anybody say this to him?
Okay,
Any
so
of you two can.
I'll kind of say something about it, but my interpretation of it's going to be a little different.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do is like I've heard travelers speaking of the Copper Jackals many times in the times I've been here, and I know that I've heard of some from other places using different names. The Moors, I believe, there's is where there's an outpost, perhaps, of the copper something. It's in the Moors. I don't know. I imagine somebody.
Arr, that's right. The Moors, the New Copper Legion. I had it on the tip of me tongue the whole time.
Are they separate from? And I pull out the Oregon, and I say, "Is this different?"
And I sort of, my eyes dart around at the two others to see their reaction.
I kind of look at the ore and get a little bit of shock. I reach in my pocket and realize, wow, his ore is a lot bigger than mine.
So, um, yeah. So, a bet from your time in the Copper Jackals, and from your time on the sea, you actually know that the Moors are a very they're a very exclusive lot. And actually, now that you're thinking about it, that's definitely where that guy was from, the bartender. He's definitely a Morin. He's definitely somebody from that region. That's where you recognized his clothing from.
Hmm.
They're like the best way to describe them is a country of super merchants. Like they sell some of the most crazy, like most sought after things in the world, but they are very reluctant to share it. So at least that's what they claim.
Mm. That's why their ships are prime targets for
Yeah.
any
It
sort of pirate.
they rarely sell things to other countries, but when they do, oh, it's not only easy to spot a Morin ship as it is overly decorated, but just picking the ship apart itself would be worth a fortune.
Yar.
And the fact that you even see Morin stuff here is strange. Like, now that you're thinking about it, seeing a Morin bartender, possibly even maybe that town was some kind of Morin settlement, is very strange to see here. Morins almost never leave.
Yeah, especially advertising it through his clothing.
So
Very
it's
strange indeed.
so yeah, it's clear that this settlement that may be up ahead may be of some kind of Morin descent or some kind of Morin refugees.
I've got me an idea for this flight. Maybe if we stepped on the Marn symbols, nothing would happen to us when we try to get up. Do you think anybody who knows a bit about magic could study the runes and see if they would activate the trap?
Hmm.
Yar.
I actually know very little about magic.
I look at the dwarf.
And I'm still holding my bloody nose. And just, and I actually, sadly enough, do not know much of this. Perhaps I can glean something from the runes, but magic, well, I don't know where my magic comes from.
Our trial and error then, and I step onto one of the more symbols.
I brace myself for.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd set up. I would have set up a handhold for us, but that
Yeah,
happened.
that would have been a good idea. Sorry, guys.
I choose instead to wrap myself around the Wendigo's leg, like like a little child who just doesn't want to leave.
So,
I don't want to fall. You can't make me.
Actually, I make a fist for a second, and then
I mean,
put my
Don't you
hand
know it's
down.
bad luck to punch a dwarf?
so what I would like you guys to do is I would like you guys to roll a dexterity save. And I would like you guys to roll a strength check, because he did put that rope there. So it is possible for you guys to grab the rope even if you fail. So if
So
you
a
fail,
strength
please
saving
make a
throw?
strength save to see if you can grab the rope.
So I got a 17 on my dex, and then a natural 20 for my strength.
Okay.
I
so I
got
got
a
an
12.
11 on my dex and a 1 on my strength.
You're
man.
right, you damn pirate.
So
I think
got
it's karma. This was my own fault.
I got a 12. Does that fail the dex throw?
Sorry?
I got a 12. Does that fail the dex throw?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll roll my strength. 14.
14?
Yeah.
Okay. So you definitely manage to like catch the rope as you're going down, but as you are catching the rope, you just you just see a bet just go straight down all the way back out of the illusion. um, the other two, you guys managed to stay standing somehow. Um, but
I still contest that I'm clenched around this guy's leg. Just
so, yeah.
I actually have a pretty cool ability I think I might be able to use here.
Okay.
Beginning at 4th level, you can use your reaction when you fall to reduce any falling damage you take by an amount equal to 5 times your monk level. Slow fall. And the way I imagine this playing out is at first I start to slip and start tumbling down, but then as I'm in mid-fall, I manage to sort of regain some sense of balance in the air and sort of surf down this ice in order to not take damage when I get to the bottom. If that's okay with you.
Dude, that's awesome. Please take inspiration. That's great. So I guess you guys see this guy like falling, but he just totally owns it. Like, whatever, man.
that's not flying, it's falling with style.
All right. Yeah. So
So
you guys are all set. You don't really have to make a dexterity save if you don't want to, because he has put the rope there. So you can, get a much better grip using that and try to maneuver your way back up to where they are.
Yeah, I'll just if I can take a 10 or something and just rejoin them up on that platform right before we fell.
Yeah, I won't make you reroll. It's fine.
Okay.
So you guys pretty much all get up, and you're pretty much again just still at the landing before the second to last stair.
I feel like there's some sort of trick, because whoever lives here obviously isn't gonna like risk falling every single time they go into their home. Like there's symbols, there's some sort of something to figure out that they must use to get in out of this, because but obviously it wasn't stepping on the more symbols.
Well, it's obvious. You just step on the blanks.
So while he's climbing back up, I'll set to setting up. What I'm gonna do this time is set up like just one python at the bottom of the staircase, and secure the rope to it, and then have everybody like wrap it around their waists and go up one at a time.
That's a good idea.
And then I'll go first up it. If you want me to make the savings throw to get up there, and then secure another one to the top.
Yeah, dude, go for it. Now I'll give you inspiration, because this like your rope things have been awesome. That is like
All right.
those are such great ideas.
And I actually in my backpack have a belaying pin from my background as a pirate. So I don't know if we could rig something up where you could go up and I could sort of belay you from the bottom. Like, I would hook myself to your rope so that I wouldn't get pushed down, the one that you put at the bottom, and then sort of belay you up with the rope that you're dragging up there. You think that would work?
Well, I think we'd have to secure one up there in the first place, right?
Right, but you can sort of periodically stick one in so that you sort of like climbing and...
Yeah.
I don't know. I just saw that item in my inventory and thought it might be useful.
If I only secure it to one at the top, we'd be able to do that, because otherwise it'd be like wrapping around like a different sides
Yeah, you're
of the
right.
wall.
So how about you take the belay pin, and once you get up there and secure yourself, you'll be able to belay us up from the top.
Okay, yeah. So all right,
That makes more sense, right?
So I'll make my acrobatics check to get up there. 18 on that one. Cool. So I hop up. I'm kind of like crouching and like pushing off the wall to get like the distance I need for some of it. And then I'll get up there and secure that in, and then So what I'm gonna do is like put my rope back through it and then tie it to my waist again so that I'm on the other side of it, creating like a wedge basically if everyone falls.
Mhm.
And,
Okay.
and
Awesome.
I'll just put my hand up against the wall and then hook up that belaying rope so that we can just belay everyone else up.
All right. So what I'm going to have you do then is I'm going to have you make an acrobatics check to get up this next flight of stairs. I'm assuming what I don't want to assume. What steps are you stepping on?
Well, first I'm going to secure the rope to the bottom of this staircase and tie
Okay.
it around my waist. And then I'll try the closest blank step.
Okay. And again, nothing happens.
Okay, so let me make that last dex throw. Feet don't fail me now. Oh, I got a 10.
A 10?
Yeah,
Like with all pluses and everything?
yeah. 5 plus 5.
Fail me not. This would be the only opportunity that I got.
Before we know if we failed or not, can I give him a bardic inspiration?
Yeah.
I will
Now we're talking.
Is that a D6?
Yeah. It's like basically, I imagine I would take out like a piece of paper and draw like you making it up the mountain, and then holding it up and going, "You can do it."
Make a little paper airplane with it.
Alright, so let me roll that. And I got a 5, so that makes a 15.
Oh.
Nice.
Yay.
So you pretty much rolled exactly what you needed to get up this thing.
Alright, so I make it to like the last flight and like just my toe catches, and I'm like, and I like lean forward and fall on the landing.
Or the paper airplane like nudges you and
Yeah, just like hits my back and I get that forward.
Just you up here. Are you going? You have one more flight of stairs left. Are you going to nail this thing down right now, or do you want to just keep go for broke and just go up all the way?
Well, it depends how steep the stairs are, because my rope's only 50 feet long, so I'd have to have like unwrapped everybody, set it back up. Like this has probably taken a while to go through. But if it's long enough for me to get 2 flights, I'll do it.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely long enough for you to get the 2 flights.
Okay. I'm gonna again secure it again at the bottom of that staircase before I go up. So now there'll be like on the same wall, there'll be 2 pythons holding the rope against the wall, then the one leading down to where they are, and then I'll be attached to the other end.
Okay. So this one is very interesting compared to the rest of them because all the steps are blank except for one set that has a symbol in it. And it's a very simple symbol. The symbol is just a circle. And each of these symbols that have just a circle in it, just this filled in, perfectly bubbled circle, is just perfectly stamped in the center. Like, it's almost as if they did it perfectly in the center. And these stones are flawless. The entire staircase is flawless. All the edges are trimmed to be perfect.
oh man,
Okay.
Beauregard's digging this craftsmanship.
I'm all right. So I have a 9 intelligence. So I'm going to go up the blank parts of the stuff.
Can't you climb? Are you a good climber? Maybe we could just avoid this one altogether.
I could. I mean, are the walls like? I could climb the walls.
He said it would be pretty hard, but it might be easier to climb the walls.
I mean, if you're looking at these stairs and you're just like, fuck that, like, you could totally just go for the walls.
I mean, I don't. I'm gonna like playing to my abilities. Like it seems like I would see it as every single blank step has been the safe one to step on. These have to be too, and I'll just walk up it. I can't. I don't want to play it wrong. Like I have to go up the blank steps.
Okay. So, unfortunately, you step on this blank step, and nothing happens.
Aw, that sucks.
My nose starts bleeding again for no apparent reason.
So I'm not even going to bother setting up this spike, the rope at the top of this one. I'll just I'll bring it up to the top of the stairs just to hold on to it so everyone else can get up.
It's legit.
Alright, so you guys all go up then?
Yeah, do we have to roll thanks to this rope, or is it helping us enough that...
No, I would say, since he's holding the rope, even if you guys step on the ones that turn into ice, you can still manage to, stay afloat.
Weather the storm.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
So you guys all get pulled up. And again, this passage goes on for just a little bit more, but it does seem like it flattens out. It's no longer a slope or anything. And finally, it comes to a set of open wooden doors. And when you get past these wooden doors, what you see is this kind of flat top where the mountain kind of has been unnaturally flattened at. Like somebody has leveled this off. And what is there is just debris. Just all kinds of these giant stone bricks just scattered everywhere. And if you had to guess, this is probably some ruin of some kind of old temple or, some old thing. Like these bricks look old, ancient, covered in, well, there's not really much for them to be covered in, but you can tell that they're just kind of broken apart at this point. And this small settlement isn't really a settlement. It's more of an archaeological dig site. You have all these people just excavating, and you can see that some of these stones have measurement taped on them. They have all kinds of writing and material. Papers are just scattered everywhere. Everybody who would have been there seems to have been working on trying to discover what this place was or what this place is. Which is very weird, because this place does not look like a good temple to any good god. It looks in a lot of ways like a very creepy place, and you can even feel that this place, there's just something wrong here. There's something emanating from the ground itself that just makes you feel like you should leave. But what would catch your eye is the hushed voices, a lot of people kind of murmuring all at the same time but quietly. And it's not that they're talking about you or even that the sounds are directed at you. As soon as you come into this archaeological dig / settlement kind of thing, you'll find that you see a lot of people in robes kind of all clustered together, about 50 or so people all clustered together in a group, kind of looking down at something. And around them is what could definitely be described as new buildings, some kind of housing structure that has been burned to the ground, like a whole block worth of it just leveled.
Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do seeing people is pull my hood back up over my face and make sure that my skin's covered.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to not approach.
And then you're going to what?
I'm going to to hide behind a pillar and kind of just watch what's happening.
Okay. Everyone else?
So, can we see what... Did you say that these were humans?
Yeah, these are definitely humans. I will definitely say, though, that you guys can definitely tell that they are dressed in the same clothing, or at least in the same style of clothing as the bartender. But these are clearly robes. He was dressed in very, fancy noble-like clothes. They're dressed in, the equivalent of, a scholar's robe, or, a wizard's robe.
So when we get to the top, and I look around, I'm going to kind of go over to the abbot and say, "Thought we were supposed to be killing hobgoblins. Why are we with all these humans?"
Yar, 'tis a good question ye be asking there. And I'm going to step forward and address this group of robed individuals. Yo ho, ye salty sea dogs! I see ye come from the land of Moor. What be happening in this here cavern?
And the first few people kind of turn around very startled, but at the same time they don't look as startled as they should be. It's almost as if like they almost half expected you to show up, but you know, they're like, oh. So, most of the people though completely ignore you. They're too focused on whatever it is that are in there. But as you start coming over, they do kind of like tilt their head slightly towards you and kind of start to part a little bit as if they expect you to, come. And you hear from behind you just another voice, and he just says, "Aye, who are you?" And he's this very like short man. He's about like maybe 4 or 5.
Just to be clear, this isn't anything that the Copper Jackals would have warned me about ahead of time, right?
Oh no.
This is like all new stuff we're discovering.
Yep.
Okay. I whirl around, and we be adventurers. We came here to stop a band of hobgoblins armed with a fire-breathing beast and stumbled upon this here cavern. Could you tell us more about it?
At the mention of a fire-breathing beast, the man will kind of like narrow his eyes, and then as you continue, he'll like nod his head and go, "Ah, yes, the fire, and the hobgoblins. Right. Well, it seems that you're just in time. Come this way, please." And he'll kind of snap his fingers, and people will start to separate and make a tunnel. And he'll go, "Yes, as you can see." And what you'll see is a little bit more disturbing than he's letting on, as it's pretty much the center of what would have been some kind of housing structure that's just been burnt to the ground. And in the center is just this cluster of body parts, all charred. They're kind of like all spread about, but still kind of like in a neat little circle, like something has just ripped someone apart and brought them together again. The problem is that there are more parts than there should be for a person. So it's like a cluster of multiple people have been put in this building and then just burned.
Well then, that's
I wince.
Sight.
And he will just continue and say, "Yes, well, this has been happening for the past few days now." And he'll kind of like just put his fingers on his forehead as if he's trying to like summon the information he's looking for. And he's like, yes, several weeks, not days. And I think we have sent for assistance a long time ago. Disappointed so late. These hobgoblins are becoming a real problem. We need them to be taken care of immediately.
When they started walking away, I would have followed, and at this point I'll walk up and say, "Where are they?"
I don't know. I don't leave the place. It's dangerous and cold.
We be fighters, not investigators. Point us in the right direction, and we'll take care of the bruising.
Well, I can't point you in the right direction. Maybe towards the grim side of the mountain. The pass goes straight, doesn't it? You gotta run into them at some point. Or maybe they're on top of it. Maybe they're on the mountains beyond the pass. I don't know. All I know is that for the last week, whenever we send out our hunters to go deliver us food, they come back like this. Or we wake up in the middle of the night to attacks.
I'll ask, do they come from the staircase?
I certainly hope not. They'd be very clever individuals to disguise that trap.
What other ways into this village are there?
That's it. Well, again, they could have come from above, climbed over the stairs. Maybe they climbed over the mountains. Most of the folks that live here don't actually use the trail. They climb the whatever you call those walls or stones or rocks.
Hmm.
Civilized folks use the road.
So
You'd say there's been attacks on this here site.
Yes, and he points to the charred remains and goes, "Clearly, you can see that."
And every couple of days.
Well, it's getting to be every night now.
Well, I say we wait here, mess them up when they come, and take a prisoner, and we'll find out more from them than what you can tell us. What do you say, lads?
I like the idea.
And you can see that he kind of shifts uncomfortably, and he goes, "I don't know if I feel comfortable allowing outsiders to stay here. Are you sure this is the only way?"
I sort of stare at him with a blank for a while and go, well, would you prefer we leave and let the hobgoblins massacre your people, or would you prefer we stay and protect you?
And he just kind of like he just puts his hands up and goes, all right, I see what you're saying. You don't understand. We isolated ourselves here for a reason. They're not gonna like it that there are more people staying here. He's not gonna like it. But like you say, it's probably for the best. All right. Just don't disturb our research. Don't disturb our study. Don't do anything until tonight. You understand?
Aye.
Is he someone we should be a-meeting?
And he again kind of shifts uncomfortably and goes, "No, he is not."
Then we wait.
Well, let me take you to where you're staying. I'm sure I can work something out. On second thought, why don't you stand right here, and I'm going to go see if someone can give you their place. So just stay there and don't move.
All right,
Okay.
So is this place like covered? Like, is it warmer than it would be on the pass here?
Warmer?
Like, yeah, like even just like outside of the tents or whatever.
I would say that it's probably just as cold,
Okay. I was
but
gonna say, I would,
it definitely doesn't. It's not. There's not a lot of snow everywhere.
okay. I'll actually just go sit down in the building that the burnt bodies are in and lean up against the wall and go to sleep.
Oh God. Okay.
I would probably just turn to whoever was near me and say, I don't know if I trust this little man.
And you would try to turn around to say that to the abbot, but he has already stealthed off to go explore. And no one noticed him leaving. Hopefully, if my stealth roll is good enough.
Oh man, that's
You don't
funny.
need to beat much to out-stealth me.
So basically I turn and I'm like, I don't think I trust that man. Perhaps you should go follow O. Never mind.
And I've got a 13, so yeah, I'm stealthing around. I'm gonna maybe follow this guy a little bit, sort of track him, and try to stay unseen and see what I can see, like exactly what's going on here. What are they doing?
Okay. So you follow. But you are direct. Like you're not just exploring and kind of following him. Like you're definitely following him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm following him, but what I mean is that I'm not just looking straight at him. I'm looking all around to see what's going on in this cavern.
Okay. So here's what you can pretty much see. The only thing that seems to be left of this place is a huge foundation. And I mean like a really, really big foundation. Everything else, whatever happened to this place, it seems like they wanted it gone. Like, whatever this place used to be, they completely destroyed. Like, it's half of the bricks have actually been reduced to rubble. It's how much they hated this place, whoever destroyed it. If you see any remnants of a statue, any kind of face that it may have had has been deliberately scratched off, or the head has been completely destroyed. If not, the whole statue has been reduced to rubble. Pretty much everything you see about this place has just been decimated. Everything about it has been completely destroyed. And it does seem like they are attempting to rebuild whatever this is. And if not rebuild it, like reconstruct certain things. Like you can see statues have kind of been like put back together. You can tell like the crack lines and stuff, and you can tell that they are trying to understand whatever this place is. It's really hard to see what their objective is with this place, but you can definitely tell that it is something. Like there's something going on here with these people in this place. Now this guy, he ends up walking for, maybe about a minute or so until he finds himself into a bigger house than most other people's houses. And when he goes inside, he instantly drops to his knees. And if you I'd say you get in close enough that you can listen.
Well, I'll try to use my perception and see
Okay.
how much I'm able to glean from whatever's going on in here.
Okay,
If that's all right with you.
that's fine.
All right. And I got an 11, so I maybe hear some snippets, like a gist or something.
Okay.
Probably, I don't know.
So you don't make out the whole conversation, but basically the snippets that you can hear is that he addresses someone, lets them know that you guys have arrived, and he deliberately calls you the Copper Jackals. And he says that the Copper Jackals have arrived, and what should they do? And the man that he is speaking to, number one, he doesn't sound intimidating at all. Like, he just sounds like some other random guy in there. But the guy instructs him to treat you guys very kindly and to allow them to do their job. And then the guy comes back out.
All right, that seems legit. I guess I'll try to stealth back without him noticing that I had left. Is that
Okay.
possible, or?
Yeah, you can go ahead and make a stealth roll.
All right, let's see how I do. And I got an 18.
An 18? Alright, so you pretty much hurry back there, but you're a lot quicker than he is, as he's very short. So you get there pretty much just as he is getting there.
Awesome.
And he goes, "Yes, so I managed to talk to several of the people, and it seems like I can find you somewhere to stay for the night. We'll give you whatever you need to complete your task, but we don't have much. Again, most of our hunters haven't exactly brought back a bounty of food, with the hobgoblins always hunting them. So please follow me, and I'll lead you to where you're gonna stay tonight."
Very well. Lead on.
So he takes you guys kind of almost around the way to where he came from before, and he leads you again directly into that nice big house. And he just goes, "No one will be here. It'll just be you. So don't touch anything, don't steal anything, and if it looks complex, definitely don't touch it. Don't touch anything. Just wait till the night and do what you have to do so you can leave."
You said you could help us or assist in some way.
Yes, I did. What do you need?
Well, we'll convene and make a plan, and we'd appreciate your support with whatever we come up with. You have lots of materials in here for digging, architecture. Maybe we could set something up. We'll discuss it, and would you, if you don't mind, could we come find you afterwards and tell you what we've come up with?
And he just again kind of shifts uncomfortably and goes, "Yes, yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay. You do that. You think about whatever it is you're gonna need." And he just, his eyes kind of like almost like they're searching the ground. And he goes, and I'll be close by if you need me. And is there anything else? Do you need food? Do you need water? Do you need some slippers?
A little bit of food would be nice.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I'll be right back with that.
Yeah, I pull out my crust of bread and it's just frozen solid.
Okay. So yeah, so he leaves. While he's going to get your food, do you guys discuss this amongst yourselves to try to develop a plan? And by the way, Wendigo, are you still sleeping in the building?
Unless someone woke me up, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I think we would have woken you up, man.
After he leaves, I'm going to close the door. I'm going to turn to them. I said, "All right. So for the plan, we only need one thing, and one thing alone: hobgoblins. Just need them. We kill them. We call it done."
Some kind of fireproofing would be convenient. I don't suppose they have something here which is flame retardant.
I don't know. But if we just run at it, I've been told I'm rather scary, and maybe I can scare it off long enough to kill the hobgoblins.
Sounds like a plan.
I pull out, I reach into my bag and I pull out this big steel tooth trap, and I say, if we can figure out where they're coming from, we can put this in their way.
Yeah, and at least get the jump on them. Hide out, hit first, hit hard, and then fight strong. What do you say?
Well, the fighting's strong. I'm with you, but I don't know if you realized. He's going to kind of flex and say, "I don't stealth around that well." He's going to move a little bit, and his arm is going to jingle very loudly.
Alright, well, I guess when the guy comes in to bring us our food, we just maybe tell him, all we need to know is where the hobgoblins are gonna come out of
Okay.
during the
So,
attacks.
Yeah, so as he comes back and you say him that, or you tell him that, he goes, I gotta be honest with you. I'm a very deep sleeper. I typically I wake up in the morning and then there's some kind of body. If you would like, I can go out and I can ask. Maybe somebody else knows. Somebody who maybe has better things to do with their time than sleep.
Hmm. Yes, make yourself useful now that we have our food.
Oh yeah. That's a great way to say thank you.
Sorry, Minotaur.
So I'll offer after we eat to go out and just like search the perimeter and see if I can see any tracks. If they've been coming often enough, if they're attacking from the same place, it should be pretty obvious where they are coming into or retreating into.
So you're offering to go search the perimeter,
Yeah,
like outside of the place or inside of the place?
just like the perimeter of the village. Like see if because if they're coming into the village and it's not snowing too much, there should be some trace of them.
Yeah. So pretty much once you've asked if you can do that, he you can just see how uncomfortable he is about that, and he goes, uh, sure, sure, I, yeah, yes, of course, do what you have to do to get this done.
All right, so
Just again, don't bother anyone and stay out of our houses and stay out of our buildings. Just search outside.
I kind of just like jump, like lunge at him, like not attack him, but like to make him flinch back, basically. And so like I don't want him telling me what to do.
Okay. If you jump at him, he'll just be like, ah, yeah, do what you want. Do what you want.
And I'll grunge.
And he'll just like kind of he'll just run out of the building.
All right,
So do you
So
guys want to all go?
if you want, I mean, I have a pretty good chance of doing it. Help wouldn't be bad though.
I'd offer to join just in case something happens.
Okay.
I'm fine.
So we'll eat, and then go about doing that.
all right. So those of you who are going out, I would like you guys to make a survival check to look for tracks, or a perception check, or an investigation check. You could also make a nature check to see if you know anything. Well, no, we'll save a nature check if you actually find something.
All right. So I got a 23 on my survival check.
Okay.
I got a 13 on my perception.
Okay. So for the survival check, as you're kind of walking around you're walking around this village, you can see a lot of tracks, mostly from the villagers. You don't actually see, like, you've walked around this entire place and you don't see a single pair of hobgoblin tracks. And some of the tracks you've seen are as old as like 3 weeks ago. So it's really hard to believe, these hobgoblins coming in at night would not leave any tracks, especially if this happened yesterday. It's you can't find any real way for other people to get into this place. You haven't found any kind of secret entrance or any kind of like hidden cove or something where they might be sneaking in or smuggling themselves in. The only real opening you've seen to get in here is the stairs.
Okay.
And with your perception check, I bet what you pretty much see is that everyone has pretty much distanced themselves from you. Like, everyone has purposely, like, wherever you go, people stop what they're doing and leave. Like, they don't just kind of, like, close their windows or anything. They literally leave wherever you are.
It's time to get some answers.
Yes, I don't see anywhere they could be coming in from, unless perhaps they've managed to fly in.
Something's not right at all.
I agree. I don't trust these people. Not as far as I can throw them.
So if everybody's sort of moving away from us as we go, I think I'll try to duck out and sneak again, and sort of try to sneak up on some people without them necessarily noticing, so that I can get closer.
Okay.
With my perception check as we're walking around, am I spotting what these people are actually doing? Like you said, they were rebuilding, right? Like they're construction workers. Is there anything suspicious about that?
So what it actually appears like they're doing is, it's not exactly that they're rebuilding, but it was definitely a possibility. But they are definitely studying this stuff. You see a lot of people doing sketches of them. A lot of people seem to have a lot of books trying to decipher some of like the writing that's on some of these stones. Pretty much they're digging out more stone. They are reconstructing like statues and anything that has wording on it. Like they're not rebuilding the actual building itself, but it's almost like they're rescuing artifacts from this place, or what they would consider they're looking for something in here, but it's not very clear if like all of this stuff is what they're looking for, or if they're looking for something very particular. It's really hard to see, but you definitely see that they're studying this stuff.
Alright, so I'm just going to sneak up on a guy who looks like he's sort of isolated or by himself doing whatever research he's absorbed in, and sort of just grab him and bring him to the rest of the party discreetly, if I can do that.
Okay.
So we can, like, interrogate him.
Okay. So I just imagine that you just grab this guy and just put your hand over his mouth, and he's just screaming,
just total ninja style.
like he's just screaming into your hand. And once you bring him to the group, what do?
Oh, you've made a new friend.
I toss him on the ground and say, let's get some answers out of this one. And don't you make any noise. And we just sort of tower over him.
And he is about to say something. As soon as you say, don't make any noise, and he looks between like you, the Minotaur, and the half-orc, he just slowly closes his mouth.
I just have an axe in my hand hanging out, like.
Yeah, this guy again, like he's dressed in robes. He's again the scholarly type. He's not going to try to fight you.
If anybody wants to try and intimidate him, now might be a good.
Look, I'm going to tell you guys all this. No one has to roll for intimidation. He is very intimidating.
Terrified. There's a puddle under him.
Like, I would call this an automatic success.
Well, that being said, I think Horgar's actually going to go for the good cop, bad cop routine. He's going to, like, kind of push everybody away a little bit and be like, my friends, let's hear what the man has to say. There's no need to resort to brutish violence. After all, we're a civilized people, are we not? Would you like some wine?
No, I would not like some wine. I would like to get back to my work. I don't understand why you have... And he'll just kind of like look past you at all of them, and he'll kind of talk softer and be like, I don't understand why you have dragged me here.
We simply require some information that seems to be being withheld from us.
Could you not have just asked?
Well, I might say my friends are a bit more dramatic than that.
Clearly. And he just kind of dusts himself off and goes, well, now that I am here, what would you like of me to tell you?
Hobgoblins, where they're at.
And he just... It's almost as if, like, your question has startled him, and, like, he takes a second to, like, realize what you're talking about, and he goes, yes, the, hobgoblins. They are And he thinks for a second and goes, I don't know, out there in the pass.
Where do they get in from, though?
Well, there's only one way to get in, so I have to assume that it's from the stairs.
What do you mean you have to assume? You're under attack every day for the past 2 weeks. There's nothing to assume. Where are the hobgoblins coming from?
And he just kind of bites his lip and he just goes,
Why can't we get a straight answer from any of you people? Arr!
If ever a pirate can let out frustration.
So he just kind of like bites deeply on his lip and just goes, I told you they come from the stairs. It's the only way in and the only way out. We've seen creatures. We've seen creatures come from over the wall. They have climbed over the pass, and that is a possibility. But I don't think they're that smart. I think they would come from the stairs. And we are not completely helpless. We do have our defenses. I'm sure you saw the stairway. It is heavily guarded. If they did get some people up here, they must have built a system to get up here. Again, they've been attacking for weeks now. They've had time to learn. And we can't just go digging up all the stairs and replacing them every time they figure it out.
Danny just looks confused.
What?
Look, I think this is a waste of time. I think we should just wait until the night comes, and then as they're going through, we can meet them head on.
There's obviously something really fishy going on here, though, because they tell us there have been attacks every couple of days for the past week, but there are no recent signs of battle that we've come across. I mean, our friend here says that the last fight was probably a couple weeks ago. There's something you're not telling us. And I intimidate him one more time just to try to get him to spill the beans. And I guess if he doesn't, we'll do what you say. How's that sound?
So he as you kind of press him a little bit more. So here's what I'm actually gonna have you make a intimidation check with advantage.
Danny? Alright,
Yep.
do you have it? Alright, let's see. I got a 15.
A 15?
Yes.
So pretty much you press this guy and you can see him like he's trying to figure out what to say or how to say what he wants to say, and he just looks at you and he just says, look, there are things east. It's and he's very careful about his wording. He says it's not just the hobgoblins. It's there are other things that have been attacking us. Things that are how do I say, unnatural. Hobgoblins have been attacking us in the past, but here in the village, I dare say that it might be something else. and he looks at you, and he actually has a very like desperate look, and he says, "But please, I have to get back to my work. There's nothing," and he says his words very slowly. "There is nothing else I know."
Can we all roll insight and see if he's lying to us?
Sure.
I got a 10.
That's a 15.
We're in the same boat as the Abbot with the 10.
By the way, Jonathan, just a quick question. How much longer do you suppose we've got tonight?
So yeah, I just saw the question. We can split the session if you guys have to head off.
I think it might be better than to try and wrap it up too quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to.
I don't know when you guys want to like call it a night, but you know we can go like maybe till like 12:30, and then split it and do it again another day.
Sounds good with me.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, cool. So we'll go
So you
till
mean another
12:30.
15 minutes? I think I'm not in the same time zone as you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry, another 15 minutes. Sorry about that, man. I
Okay,
keep
no
forgetting
problem.
that not everyone lives in Boston.
So basically, I guess then what we should do is just figure out the plan of attack for the night, and then call it. We don't need to stay on for another 15 minutes if we can figure out what we're doing before that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Did anybody manage to know if this guy was lying to us?
Oh yeah, you guys all got 10s, right? Did anybody get above a 10?
I got a 15.
Okay. So yeah, I'm going to say that all of you can definitely tell that this guy is lying.
But we intimidated him.
I'll punch him.
That
Yeah,
is
let's
very
just
true.
fuck him up. I'm
punch-
pissed off. I'm a pirate. I draw my cutlass and I like fucking.
I mean,
Should I
to be
stab her?
fair, it is very possible that there is something more intimidating than you.
We're pretty intimidating.
Alright, so are we like by a cavern wall or something?
We're in that building that they gave us.
Well, you guys are outside.
Oh, are we? Okay, yeah.
You
Well,
guys are outside.
No, yeah,
either
we're
way, I'm
outside.
gonna punch him.
Huh?
Either way, I'm gonna punch him.
Yeah, it's time to fuck shit up. We need answers.
Alright, but I'm going to try something real quick. I'm going to put my head down and then just charge right at him, horns just skewed. And then as he kind of just cowers, my horns are just going to just go right beside him, almost like he fits perfectly in the middle of my skull.
Oh God.
Don't fail the check. You might kill him.
Alright, so try not to kill. That's unfortunate.
What did you roll?
So I don't know what I don't know if I'm rolling an attack, but it is a 2 on the die.
No.
Oh
I didn't
man.
mean to kill him.
Totally
Okay.
misjudged the distance between your horns. Like,
Your horn was 3
man.
inches off.
So give me a quick second, please.
oh god.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Oh. Oh man. Okay. All right. Wow. All right.
My bad.
So
Man, did you guys see those hobgoblins that killed this guy?
We're gonna get back. The Copper Jackals are gonna be like, so you took care of the hobgoblins, right?
They
We're
came
gonna
out
be
of
like,
nowhere.
no, but we killed an entire village of Morns. They were suspicious, man.
So pretty much what happens, right? Matter of fact, dude. So this guy rolled a 3 to try to like get out of the way. So the way I see it is that you tried to like you measured it out perfectly, but he moved. So I want you to tell me if you kill him or not. Like you don't have to kill him. I'm pretty sure you can't do enough damage to kill him. But like, or maybe you can. I don't know. just tell me what happens. You hit him like what? Oh man.
So, fully expecting to have his horns ram right into the stone behind the man, it almost shocks him as he kind of slows down, and then as he stands up, the man is just there hanging with his horn going through his chest. And oh man, Terrakan kind of, with this familiar feeling, grabs him and pulls him off and lays him down, and I'm going to see what the man is doing. And by the way, for damage, that would be 12 damage.
Oh shit.
Oh fuck. Yeah.
Does his shirt happen to be red, by the way?
We need to hide this guy's body and find another guy, man.
Wow.
We'll do better next time.
Yeah.
You guys wanted to end it big, I guess. You guys were like, all right, we're gonna end this in 15 minutes. Let's fucking kill this guy.
It was a bad roll. We were trying to intimidate him. We didn't do it on purpose.
When intimidation rolls go bad.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, 12 is definitely enough to kill him. So yeah, he's dead. Wow. I like how you're like, yeah, it went through his chest, not like his leg or something. Like, no, it went through his chest. He's dead.
Alright, he's gone.
He should have ducked and not tried to dodge out of the way.
Oh man.
Good analysis.
So, he tried to like get up and run, and you just, oh man. Okay, well.
This is like a great cliffhanger, actually. Like what the hell happens now?
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah. So that's it. So let's end it here. So this is part 1 of Flames of the Legion. If anybody wants to say anything before we go, they can. But if not, we will figure out when we are going to do part 2. I hope whoever watches this had a fun time with this, and I hope you guys had fun as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, does
Yeah,
anybody
that
want
was
to say
awesome.
anything?
Sorry for killing random NPCs. Sorry about that.
That's great. That was the greatest.
Yeah, that's
hearing-
funny.
Just hearing you go, oh crap.
Oh man.
Okay. Well, yeah. All right, guys.
Alright.
See ya.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Signing off.
Bye.